In this video, we will be discussing the switch statement. The switch statement is similar to the if statement that has been previously discussed in screencasts and class. The switch statement differs from the if statement in that we only check the equality and the exact equality only of a supplied variable to a number of possible cases. This means by only checking the equality, we are not using any relational expressions to evaluate the statement, unlike the if statement. To see what the switch statement usage in Matlab is, we can use the help command, followed by the keyword switch. The brief description here outlines what I previously said, based on several cases of an expression where these are the cases, and this is the switch expression, which is a variable that is passed. We compare the variable to a number of possible cases. Otherwise, we have not found any matches for this variable to these cases, so we execute some code. When we use the switch statement with a variable we supply, this is where the variable we supply is inserted. If a case is found to exactly match the variable, the code following that case will be executed. To further elucidate this, a quick example is best. If we consider a small problem of some variable x, and if we want to find out, provided we know x is a number less than 10, if we want to find out if it's prime or composite, we can use a switch statement to check the equality of this number to some known prime and composite numbers to determine that. It's a pretty simple problem that we ourselves can do in a second, but for a computer it can't decide for itself, so we need to supply useful instructions for it to provide useful output. To set up a switch statement, we use the switch keyword followed by the variable that we want to check. We now provide a number of cases where we use the keyword case followed by the possible expression that our variable will match. Below the case keyword is where we enter the code that shall be executed in the event that the variable we supply, in this case x, matches the case. So what I'm going to do is copy this code, and you can probably guess that I'm going to enter the prime numbers under 10, and we're going to check if x is equal to one of these, and if it is, we will execute this code to show on our command line in Matlab that, hey, this is a prime number. If, for example, we use number 6, it matches none of these cases because 6 is composite. A mistake I just made is I typed the else keyword. The else keyword is unique to the if statement that we've previously used. Instead, we use the otherwise keyword, which is unique to the switch statement. Note that with the case keywords, there's an expression following each one. With the otherwise keyword, there's no expression following it, and we just drop down to the line below it and enter the code that we want to execute in the event that none of these cases is matched by this variable. Just like the if statement, we do, however, use the end keyword to signify this is the end of our conditional statement. This looks about right. So if we've saved this now, I've given it a name, remembering that the Matlab variables and script names must be one single word, not starting with a number, and it cannot have any special punctuation characters. If we execute this code now, we see our program has printed its composite to the command line. If we just clean this up and get rid of the help document and try an example for 7. If we execute the code, we see the result is prime, which is what we expected. There's not much else to say about the switch statement. It's fairly straightforward. One final thing I should note is that only one case is ever going to be executed in a switch statement. This isn't too dissimilar to the if statement, but to cement this, if we perhaps have two cases in which perhaps as a part of our plan for a program, if the number was to be 3, we would do one lot of code and also execute another section of code. If instead we have two distinctly separate pieces of code to execute in the case that x is 3, we want both of these to execute. But if we run the program, we see only one is printed. So as I said, only one case is ever proven to be true in a switch statement. So if there's multiple cases, the first case that's found to be true is the only one that executes. We see here Matlab's put a little orange squiggle under 3, and if we mouse over that, we see Matlab has told us it's a duplicate of this line.